Hey everybody, what is going on? Serial Overdrive here, and today we're playing some Entropia Universe. For those of you who are watching and do like my Rust content, don't worry, I'm not going 100% into Entropia Universe. It's an old, real cash economy MMORPG that I used to love to play, and I still love playing it. Used to do a lot of videos for it, and this is sort of a throwback to those old videos. I do this every so often just because it's fun for me, and these are actually pretty easy videos to make. It's more stream of consciousness rather than actually editing in sort of all the good gameplay. The thing with Entropia is the gameplay is a little bit different, right? The way you play this game, since it's a real cash economy game, is to just try and maximize the amount of money you spend, or minimize the amount of money, or basically maximize your efficiency. So you want to kill beasts as fast as possible. It's not about killing the biggest thing or the baddest thing. It's about killing the thing that you can kill the best. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm at Fort Ithaca, and I'm going out to kill some Aatrox. So we're headed north. We're going to find a few of these bad boys and take them on. What I wanted to talk about now is deeds and how they're treating me, what I think about them, and everything like that. This is not investment advice, so this is just purely entertainment. My knowledge is pretty outdated, so honestly, take everything I say with a grain of salt. You can see right here, I've even got some moon deeds and underground deeds. The moon deeds are pretty bad, I'd say. But yeah, anyways, let's get into it. Let's just check out sort of what these deeds are worth right now. So you can see Calypso land deeds have really jumped up, 3.2K. That's it's quite expensive. When I originally bought most of these deeds, 10, almost 12, 13. When I bought them a while ago, many years ago, they were selling for 1,000 PED a deed, right? That's 100. Wait, is that? Yeah, that's about $100 a deed, I think. Hold on one sec here. So that's like $100 a deed, or no, sorry. Hold on, the math is slow. That's $100 a deed. Yes, it is. Now they're selling for about $320 a deed, so that is quite the increase. You can see Arcadia Underground deeds have done somewhat similar. They were sold, they're a little bit more recent, so their value is 94 PEDs. They haven't shot up like Calypso land deeds because Calypso land deeds have had a massive jump in payments. I'm not 100% sure why. And then Arcadia Moon deeds were pretty failure. They did pretty bad, so they're only 34 PEDs a deed. If you're going to buy any of them, personally, my favorite, I just like the Calypso land deeds because they've been around for so long, and Calypso's sort of a mainstay with what's going on. Like, Calypso is where new players will spawn in. It's what a lot of new players basically prefer because it's where they first started out. For me, it's just the planet I keep coming back to just because it's the first planet I ever played on. Back when I started playing, it was the only planet. In addition to that, you've got Ancient Greece deeds, which is basically Ancient Greece. These are selling for about 10 PEDs a deed. You can see there's still a lot of these deeds for sale. So this, I believe, is owned by the people who just originally released the Ancient Greece deeds. So I don't think there's any risk of them going above 10 PEDs a deed. Next up, you've got Crystal Palace deeds. These actually jumped up a decent amount, I think, because of the Merry Mayhem that was going on. Ooh, that was actually pretty good loot, 15 PEDs. So these are 17 PEDs a deed. And then you've got New Treasure Island, which is running about 9.7 PEDs a deed. There's not actually that many deeds up for sale, so personally, I think Next Island has a decent future. Personally, I do like actually hunting and going on to Next Island. I'm a little bit disappointed that they moved the spawns around because I've got to figure out where everything is. That's why I'm not hunting on Next Island right now. But I do like the idea behind it, and I think that that's something that Mindart could do a lot with. One thing that's interesting, one thing I find interesting or different about the deeds, or not different, but one new thing I see in the future when it comes to deeds is if you look with the Unreal 5 engine, Mindark is trying, from what I've read, they're trying to sort of reduce space quite a bit to make it easier to go between planets. This means that those deeds that are like Ancient Greece or Arcadia, they could see an additional value if it's a lot easier to get between planets. If it's a lot easier to transfer resources between planets. I could see it really taking off. I could see a lot of these planets that are doing pretty like horrible now actually coming around and doing very good because they're just, there's going to be more people going to them because it's easier to get there. Right now, if you're looking for sort of the best, the most vibrant economy in Entropia Universe, you need to go to Calypso. There's no unified market across all the planets. It's planet-based, which means if you took something, like let's say you get a huge loot on Monria, to get it back to Calypso, what you need to do is you need to schedule a mothership, you need to take them with you, you need to take all your items with you, and then you need to hope that mothership doesn't get shot down. I don't know if a mothership's ever been shot down. I think it's happened once or twice. But if it does happen, then all your loot basically gets taken away. Like, you're looted and you lose everything. So what that means is you lose it. Like, if you had $2,000 worth of merchandise on you, you lose $2,000. That goes to the people who destroyed the mothership, and you're out of luck. When it comes to an MMO, I love the PvP aspect of it, but forcing people into a PvP aspect in an MMO that is a real cash economy, in my opinion, is tough. Because now people just don't want to go anywhere because that risk is too high. I think what the Unreal 5 engine update is going to do is it's going to bring that risk way down. So I can see there being some real potential for some of these otherworldly deeds, or other planet deeds, basically. Personally, though, I'm probably just going to end up buying Next Island shares just because that's me. But yeah, I just thought it would be cool to talk about. I think, honestly, all the deeds have been doing pretty decent for me. Calypso's really been surprising me. Like, we've seen some really big numbers here. We go look at this PED flowchart. You can see they're paying about 70 PEDs a time, but it's quite the increase if you go back in history a bit. Like, it used to be around 50, 60, then it jumps up. When it comes to Merry Mayhem, it's going to jump up even more, assuming that Merry Mayhem is on Calypso. If Merry Mayhem is not on Calypso, then deeds are probably going to drop in what they're paying out, and then you're going to see some issues. So recently what happened with the new sort of event is the Merry Mayhem event went from something that was played out on Calypso to something that was played out on Crystal Palace. There was still some Merry Mayhem mobs sort of around Calypso, but for the most part they were on Crystal Palace. This means that most of the revenue went to Crystal Palace shares, and that means that people were sort of pushed to buy them. One thing too, I think, like, one thing I try not to do is get too involved in all this. Like, what happens is people see, like, Crystal Palace, like, paying out more, so they just buy all these deeds, even though the real reason it's paying out more is that event, and there's no guarantee that that event is ever going to come back. As we saw with Merry Mayhem, Mindark is free to move these events however they want to, so you got to remember that these are sort of, consider them to be like one-time things rather than like multiple year type deals. At least that's how I think about it. So basically, yeah, I don't know. When it comes to deeds, it's interesting to see where everything's going to go, because a lot of it is in Mindark's court. It's up to them to determine how they want things to work, because if they decide that, they're going to move all the events or move stuff off of Calypso, then you're sort of stuck with it. And if they decide to keep it on Calypso, then that's great. You're stuck with that. Depending on whether you own Calypso land deeds or Arcadia deeds, that's either really good for you or really bad for you. But like that's Entropia Universe. One of the things I always say is, like, you should not be using Entropia Universe as any sort of investment vehicle. If you look at the money I've got in Entropia Universe, it's money that I plan to just keep in Entropia Universe forever. I don't really ever plan to do a withdrawal or anything like that. It just, A, the withdrawal is like such a hassle to do. Like, I don't think I really want to do it. And B, it's just, it took me so long to get to this point where I can just play however I want to play and play for free that I don't want to go back. And I sort of like it, maybe like let's say like the US is, if there's some like complete catastrophe that happens and like I desperately needed the money to provide to my family, I'm not saying I'm going to be like, no, I need my Calypso land deeds. No, of course not. But outside of that, like, yeah, I don't plan to withdraw. Because, yeah, I don't know. I think Entropia actually does have sort of a bright future. The game's been around for so long that you've got to consider that Mindark, they've seen some storms and they've weathered them well. So that's, I'd say that's a big plus in their book. Because if you think about it too, most of these games, there's very few games that have successfully made it through sort of all these different like ups and downs in the industry, all the different sort of things that happened, all the different like, like you've got series, right? But most games, like, they didn't make it past like a couple of years out. They aren't able to keep that sort of core audience alive and thriving. And Entropia Universe is one of the games that's managed to keep a large enough core audience that they can keep going, right? Like, if you look at my videos, I'm not doing crazy numbers on my Entropia Universe videos by any metrics. Let's go ahead and convert this ammo. We need some more to kill this bad boy here. But yeah, like, I'm not doing crazy by any metrics. Like, I don't do these videos because they're gonna make me money or anything like that. There's not a big enough core audience to support sort of a lot of these peripheral things that are going on. Like if you look at forums, if you look at these fan sites, everything like that, I don't think Entropia Universe has the core audience to support anything more than passion projects, personally. But it does obviously have enough of a core audience to support Mindark, and that's because the dynamics are different too. When you look at the way Entropia Universe works and everything like that, it's not necessarily a numbers game. For instance, like let's say one of the players is a multi-billionaire, okay? If that player decides to play at $1 million a month spend, it doesn't really matter if they're the only person playing the game. The game could probably survive off of that, right? Like if they're spending $1 million a month, losing $1 million a month, let's say, I don't think anyone else needs to even play the game. Like it could be kept alive that way. And that's one of the ways that Entropia Universe is pretty unique. Even if you look at pay-to-win games, there's always that like max where you hit it and you're sort of done. With Entropia Universe, that doesn't exist. Some people would say like that's gambling. Some people would say that's bad. It's a different dynamic for the game. But the one thing I do have to give them credit for is they've always been honest about it, right? Like it's a different way of playing a game. Instead of just paying a subscription fee and seeing like just playing however long you want, this is more about paying however much you want and seeing how long you can make that money last. They don't, again, the problem is like some people say it's, I don't know. Some people think it's bad because it's obviously pay to win. But I think if they're really upfront about it and their model is that, it's like it's a play to earn game essentially is what you could call it, with components where you might not be paying or playing to earn. You might be losing. And it's all about your playstyle. If you're interested, I'm actually a 100% free-to-play player. I got my start way long ago, back in like 2006. So it's been a long number of years that I've been playing this game. But I got my start a while ago. I worked my way up. It is 100% possible. It's just not easy. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused. Because a few people, I like my videos. I don't make many Entropia Universe videos, but my videos still actually rank decently. So like every now and then I'll see people come to the videos and they'll be like, Serial, like what mob? How do you make profit? And it's like, well, you can't, right? Like it's, even if you're chasing markup, like if you chase markup, that's probably your best bet at making money playing Entropia Universe. But even if you chase markups, it's very hard to do because you're trying to extract that money from other players. You can't beat Mindark. There's some players who claim they can. I don't know if I believe those claims, to be honest. But it's very hard to beat Mindark because they're basically the house. They have to make money to keep this game running. Like, I get it. When you're younger, like you think a different way. Like you think this could be how it works. Maybe they're making money through advertisements or through sponsorships or whatever. They aren't. They could be. I think they could do a better job of that. That was actually something that they used to have in the game. They used to have billboards, and on those billboards, instead of having player-run ads, it would be like legitimate ads, right? And they'd sort of like integrate the ads into the sci-fi environment. I actually thought it fit very well, and I thought that was a decent way to make a little bit of extra money. And I think even in the settings, you had an option where you could check ads on or off. And if you had the ads on, that money would go into your loot pool. So like if people had the check mark where they were actually getting ads on billboards and stuff like that, then they get a little bit of extra money into their loot pool. If they had that checked off, then they wouldn't be getting any money into the loot pool, and they'd sort of be, in theory at least, getting a little bit less back. And those ads wouldn't be like out here. There wouldn't be some like big billboard that says subscribe to Serial Overdrive or something like that, or whatever someone paid for. It would be these billboards sort of in town centers and stuff like that, places where players would congregate, and they'd be in view of players when they're just chatting and doing everything like that. It would be like a normal billboard. I thought that was actually a really novel idea, because if you think about a sci-fi universe, if you think about a science fiction future, it sort of makes sense. Like, why wouldn't there be advertisements? Ooh, there we go. Look at that. 51 PEDs on that Aatrox Young. That's $5, folks. That's the same cost as my coffee. Anyways, but no, like it really makes sense. Like, look at this. I love the fact that Entropia Universe is sci-fi, but like these things behind me, right? Like, what would be more natural than for like some big banner to be falling from this, or be like the Coinbase.com launch pads? Like that would be something that I could legitimately see happening, right? Like, there's stadiums named after crypto companies, so why not have in-game stadiums named after crypto companies, or teleporters named after crypto companies, or teleporters named after whatever company, right? it just makes sense to me. And I thought it was a really cool idea. I thought it was novel, and I thought it didn't take anything away from the game. So yeah, that's my my hot take for the minute, I guess. Anyways, that's all I've got to talk about today. Just some deed talk, some talk about the good old days, just the normal serial overdrive style video. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get back. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull out. Let's hit that T. So we're gonna be headed back right now. What I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna pull out this. Can I use it? Let's see if I can equip this. I've got a TT that I keep on me. Ooh, I can't equip it. Let's abort this real quick. Let's equip this. Oh, I can't use it now. All right, I thought I could use it. Anyways, we're going to head back and see how we do. But basically, we know that we're making a profit on this because of that global, that 51 PED global that sort of keeps me keeps me in the green for sure. That was a nice one to hit. It's been a while since I've hit a global, so I was excited to see that. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I know it used to always be like I'd use them in the screenshots. Some people love to see that, and some people are like, Serial, you ruined the suspense. I don't know. I don't know why I use that voice, because I get the point. It's not like some like controversial point. It makes sense. Like there is some suspense of like, how's this run gonna go? And when you know someone's hit a global, you know that the run goes good. But yeah, it's not about that. Like usually on average, you're gonna lose about 5% a run. That's what I figure at least. So it is a diminishing returns type of thing. And by diminishing returns, I don't mean profits. I mean just your returns keep diminishing. But yeah, let's see where we're at. I don't know what's going on with the global chat. It's going off the rails right now. If anyone's been watching that, I see it in the corner of my eye. Ooh, that is more valuable than I thought. Okay, so folks, look at this. We're already at 108 PEDs. Let's throw that in there. What do we have here? We got 3 PEDs of that. So we've got about 110